Well, I grew up looking at horror films, and I grew up reading horror literature. I was growing up in the projects in Newark, New Jersey, and so when movies like The Tingler or House on Haunted Hill came out, Space Children, Day of the Triffids, all those movies were movies that we had to go see because they were our favorite films at that. There were a lot of things that were written in the script, like the wall of bodies, which would just open up limitless, whole lot of great visual possibilities. And Snoop was involved already by the time I came on. So they built the project around Snoop. I had already met Snoop, and knowing that he was involved in it, I said, oh yeah, that fits beautifully. That's one person you'll never have to worry about. Snoop will be there on time, and he'll be present. He'll know it. A lot of pictures of old brownstones and older houses, and I finally saw a photograph of an old house, and I forget if it was a house or if it was a converted church or something, but there was just something interesting in the way the windows were shaped, and I said, we could do this. We can give the house a face, so it does resemble somewhat of a face. So visually designing it was a lot of fun for me
We just have to remember.
because we wanted sunshine for the 70s, because the 70s were supposed to be a more positive time, when the neighborhood was alive and children were could run and be safe in the neighborhood. And it was amazing because on that day, we had beautiful sun. It was like a summer day. They were good at that, and that's something in my career as a filmmaker. I've always tried to use color as a way of telling the story or achieving mood. And so we tried to do the same thing here, and I thought Flavio was the best guy to do it. Flavio was great. And so we knew we wanted to affect the color. We wanted to affect the contrast. We had some trouble with it because we found out that and we put them in an air cannon, and then we had another air cannon inside the mechanical dog. So we had orzo and grub worms, and then we beefed it up with another one right alongside of it, that was hidden from the camera, and it just really just right at Khalil, and and he was a good sport about it, and it was painted to look like the wall of the bedroom, and it was front lit. And in the middle of the shot, when you take the front light off, but you bring up the back light on the wall of bodies, which is behind it, it's like that wall all of a sudden goes away, and all of a sudden this other wall just happens right there. So practically that worked, really, really well. And actually the mime artists that were in the wall, they got into it. They were totally into it, being covered with slime and coming out and having stringers of slime coming from behind them and everything. They love that stuff. Through carbonized sheep bones. So you had this black powder that was all over the place, Every day after shooting there, I'd blow my nose, and, black powder would come out. One day my cinematographer, he tried to move one of the hanging fluorescents, and he just tilted a little bit, and all this black powder it just came down all over him. And it was a sickening, sweet smell that was just over everywhere. But visually, it was awesome. All white neighborhood, and really nice house. And we were there shooting because Jimmy Bones was supposed to appear there, and the kids were coming out of the woodwork. All these little white kids were coming all over the place to get autographs of Snoop, and it was. And Snoop was great. He was signing all of them. He was, taking pictures with the kids. He was, he's just a generous soul, And that's why I think that the studio really blew it, because those are the neighborhoods they should have put a lot of their advertising in. Most of the advertising I saw for the film here in Los Angeles, I saw in South Central LA, in the black neighborhoods. Yeah, okay, some there, but put it in the white neighborhoods, because that's where a lot of Snoop's fans are, and they're the ones that want to come see this film. And as a result, a lot of people didn't know it was there. The studio marketing departments, they have their formulas, but they treat every film the same way. It's, some films need special treatment, and this film needed. Jimmy Bones is still alive.